Oi, fellow YouTubers, Stick here from Maplewood Studio. How you all doing? So I just got some spare time while I've got some rendering going on my main machine. So I've got my MacBook out, and I thought I'd do a quick video, which basically ties into what I was doing last night, which was helping out a fellow YouTube artist. You guys might know of him. This is his channel. His name's Thomas. He's an awesome bass player. And obviously I'm learning bass as part of my can't play drums thing, but one of the problems he's having with his audio that he's posting is he's basically having problems with levels. Everything he's posting up seems to be coming out quiet, or he can't achieve the results that he's looking for. So we hooked up, and he was just asking for some advice. So I basically said to him, well, send me a couple of your files, and I will do what I do. I'll send them back, and we'll put them into your video software, which I think he uses Adobe Premiere. He also records in Logic, and he also records on a handheld device, and he sometimes records with a shotgun mic, and he sometimes records with his bass DI'd, and sometimes this and sometimes that. So the first thing I said was, right, you should try and stick to one set of tools. So first of all, it was just like, use your Apogee Duet audio interface. He's got the Mark 1, which I've got as well. Great audio interface. Plug your bass DI or your output from your TC Electronic Rebel Head 450 straight into that. That's awesome. Get a shotgun mic. Funnily enough, he's got the same shotgun mic as I've got for your camera, which is the VideoMic Pro, Rode VideoMic Pro. Use that for your speech. In this video, it's got a lapel mic, and we'll hear what's going on there. Thirdly, always mix your audio in Logic, get it finished, then import it into your video editing software, so you don't have to do you're not tweaking your audio when you're in your video environment. Try and have all of that work done before you get there. And remember, if you're importing one long file, if you do need to, you can go back and make edits within Logic and export the file. As long as it's got the same name, it will replace the existing one, and then all your changes will take place in your video editing software. To the best of my knowledge, that works with Final Cut, so I'm assuming it works with other bits of software out there. So anyway, yeah, so he sent me a couple of files, and I literally thought, all right, I'll do a quick couple of videos. I'm using my microphones, going straight into my Mac, and I've got some really cheap headphones on, but I thought, that's what I've got lying around. Let's do a video. Let's get this out the way. So, today we're just going to be using Logic's own plugins. This is the project. You can see we've got a clap sync going on the vocal channel. I labelled them up, voice and bass DI. So, let's first of all have a listen to the lapel mic, which is just capturing the speech. So we've got some bleed coming out from the bass cab, and let's listen to a bit of speech.
When playing chords, and the example the melody I used here, I harmonized the known
so you can see the levels.
Song,
we're not
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Using.
They're not very, stupidly quiet. They're of great quality. Everything's been recorded fine, and the bass DI is what you'd expect from bass DI. It's a bass. There's my phone. So his main problem that he had was when exporting the final mix, or his mix of audio, the levels are wrong, and then he exported via Adobe Premiere, and the audio levels were, always quieter than everyone else on YouTube. So I basically explained to him what I did, and he just said to me, I'll tell you what, why don't you use my project, the audio files I sent you, and make a video? Because I need to know what you're doing, and I'm sure thousands of other people might find it useful. So it was very kind of him, and he's let me use his audio files, which makes a change of instead of having to use my own. So the first thing, in this instance, if you listen, or you can see while he's teaching, his way of teaching is talking while playing. So if we go to this section here, you'll hear.
Let's take from here. We have the root position, then we have the first inversion.
So we're talking about what he's playing, which obviously fits in with the video, and we're hearing it at the same time. So this creates a few sets of problems. So for this kind of mix, we're going to be looking to blend the two channels as best we can to make them sound as natural and as balanced as possible. We're also going to be looking to raise the level of the vocal channel. So we're going to compress that. And then we're just going to put a limiter over the final output. So we've got a nice consistent volume with no peaks, nothing going over 0 dB. And so on. So first of all, let's have a look at this vocal channel. Before I carry on, another way which I would advise if you're new to teaching to try and teach is to play your part. Sorry if I keep looking everywhere but the camera, but it's just a small webcam and it's a dot. Is to play your part, then speak, then play, then speak. So it's very easy to edit. So for example, you could go through this section. Ooh, wrong key. You could go through this section and just cut out the vocal mic. So we don't need the vocal mic because we've got the bass DI going on. So if we play it, obviously all we're hearing is the bass DI. Then we cut to the speech.
With triads.
And then we'd cut to more bass DI and so on. But obviously, like I say, in this situation, this isn't going to work. So let's solo the vocal or the clip-on microphone first. And first of all, I get so used to not using Logic's own plugins. Let's just put a bit of EQ on here. Switch off the bands that we're not going to use. A little tool that can help you is the analyzer. Uses up CPU, but I think most computers these days can handle the analyzers. And hit the resolution to high, and if you hit this button, you'll go pre-EQ. So you want to see what the problem areas are if you're not familiar with frequencies and this is all kind of new to you. So if we play this, you'll see what's going on.
I just played an example of what you can do with triads, namely using them
so you can
when
see,
playing chords.
We don't need all this.
And the example the melody I used
up here
I harmonized
15 to 20k.
Known children.
We don't need that. So let's get rid of that. It's just like so. And we won't bother mucking around with the cues and everything. So from about there. What else have we got going on in the voice?
Example the melody I used here, I harmonized the known children's song.
I think I'm going to leave that pretty much flat. As a rule, I usually do. We're not looking to change anything. We're just looking to improve the quality here. So next, let's stick a compressor. Let's close this. We'll stick the compressor in this space. So under dynamics, compressor, mono. I'm going to use a VCA compressor. It's not often I use Logic's own plugins. I'm spoiled. And let's play this section again.
I just played an example of what you can do with triads, namely using them when playing chords. And the example the melody I used here, I harmonized the known.
So all I've done there is set the ratio 2.3 to 1, so it's quite a soft ratio. Left the knee bog standard. We can hit auto release if we want. I'm going to just increase the attack time actually and lower the release time a bit. We'll just listen to that in a minute.
What you can do with triads, namely using them when playing chords.
So all we're looking to do is make the compressor work quickly. So it's reacting quickly to his voice, it's attacking, it's clamping down on the transients quickly, and then it's letting go relatively quickly. So let's have a listen to this in conjunction when we're playing.
major triad. Let's take from here. We have the root position. Then we have the first inversion.
So I'll increase the gain a little bit.
We have the second inversion. Let me try it from here.
Lower our faders a bit.
And then the root again. And we have been practicing like from root to root. And then from third to third. There's different fingerings to choose from.
So we've got to find that balance where we can hear the voice and we can hear the bass. So I'm actually going to lower now the vocals a bit more.
Let's take from here. We have the root position. Then we have the first inversion. And then we have the second inversion. Let me try it from here. Then the root again. And we have been practicing like.
Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I think that's a pleasant balance. We're not using the limiter. Don't need that. So yeah, it's a very basic compressor setup. Let's close that. We're not using any effects, any reverbs, anything like that. This is a bog standard, straightforward, just level mix. So the next thing I'm going to do, I might stick another EQ just on the output bus, and we're just going to look at a dynamics and a limiter, which of course will be stereo. I might try and just get rid of a little bit where we've increased the overall or the low volumes in the lapel mic. We've got a lot of background noise now if you listen.
Triads, namely using them when playing chords. And the example the melody I used here, I harmonized the known children's song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star using only major triads. And the triads we're using, you probably have been practicing your triads as I have done previously in my other videos by, for instance, a C major triad. Let's take from here.
Yeah, just to me in these headphones, that sounds a little bit better. So let's close that. So now let's look at our limiter. Our limiter is set to 0 dB. Oops. 0 dB. So nothing is going past 0 decibels. Very, very important. And let's play a section where we've got speech. And so this section here is ideal. Speech and bass playing going on together.
Let's take from here. We have the root position. Then we have the first inversion.
So we've got nothing clipping at the moment. Let's look at just the presets, for example. Some of you might not have, or you might have these, some of you might not. But let's look at a soft master limiter and see what it pulls up to give you an idea of presets. Let's just play it, see what difference it makes.
Here we have the root position, then we have the first inversion.
So that preset set the release time 11 milliseconds. It set the look ahead to 7 milliseconds, but they set the gain to +2, which isn't enough because we lowered the level meters here, so we can afford to increase this gain here. So let's do that.
Let's take from here. We have the root position.
Okay, now it's
then
working.
We have the first inversion, and then we have the second inversion. Let me try it from here. And then the root again. And we have been practicing like from root to root.
Okay, so to me, we've got a good level going on. I might actually increase these two Let's go by about dB. Now let's see if the limiter's working any harder.
Let's take from here. We have the root position. Then we have the first inversion.
So you can lower that again.
And then we have the second inversion. Let me try it from here.
So you can see here we've got a video, or the audio for the video is going to be up and down. It's a live teaching environment. The bass is obviously going to have quite a lot of transients, especially if you start slapping, popping, tapping and stuff. The lapel mic is more consistent, but I'm happy with that for this kind of production. All we're looking for is good quality teaching material. So we've only looked at one section here. We know this section is just bass playing, so let's listen to this. And obviously with that lapel mic, we're hearing more breath, you hear the shirt rustle and so on. And like I say, if we mute that section, you're going to hear a much drier signal. If that was me producing that, I'd probably put a bit of room convolution reverb on there just to make it have a little bit of space to it. And I personally prefer the method of splitting up your talking, then you're playing, talking, playing, so you can make these sort of edits. So for example, I mean, you can, if we zoom in here, you know, we could go through and try and chop out each bit.
It's a C major triad. Let's take from here. We have the root.
But Thomas starts talking straight away through the halfway through that phrase, so we can't really chop out the lapel mic because it's just gonna sound too choppy. It won't just sound amateur. So that's how I would produce this kind of audio. Let's just move along and make sure.
Okay, that's E, G, and C. Then we go to the second inversion, which starts on the fifth. Twinkle, little star, da 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 doom.
He's gonna love me for that. So there's a very quick, very simple production method for if you're just using a shotgun mic to capture your voice and you're DIing your instrument and you're putting videos up on YouTube. And we're just using some very basic plugins. Nothing overly complex about this. Personally, I would try and record everything at 48K, not 44.1. But again, Thomas said to me, you know, he just basically it's whatever's handy at the time. So I advised him to try and come up with a more consistent recording sort of process. But another question he had for me was basically about increasing the volume of a piece of music that you recorded, which I would treat the same way as we treated this first section, with just basically some EQ and some compression and then the limiter over the output. Depending on what device you've recorded it on, if you've recorded it on your iPhones or that kind of stuff, you're going to get compression to begin with. You'll see that in a waveform. So for example, if we were to compress something and export it, well, you can see here the louder the waveform and the quieter the waveform here, and you can see more transients. There's probably a clap or something here.
In this instance,
there's a, and here we have a clap.
Okay.
Clap sync. If you're doing video work, always got to have a clap sync. So there's a real quick video guide. I hope you found it useful. Yeah, hopefully Thomas found it useful, and hopefully a few of the other guys, your fellow bass players that I know watch his channel, will have found that useful as well. If you've got any questions or anything, please contact me. I always do my best to respond to as many as possible. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm doing my best to try and get as much content up as possible. For those of you who don't know, I've had a load of spinal surgery. I'm really a drummer and stuff, but I can't drum at the moment, so I'm learning bass and focusing more on other things. So anyway, there you go. Waffling. Hope you found it useful. Catch you all later. Stick out. Bye.